Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at Heart of Homeschooling. My name is Shannon Carpenter, and I am the Program Director. Today, we're going to be going over the recommended curriculum based on your homeschooling style. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first style we're going to look at is classical. And these are the recommended curriculum that we at Heart of Homeschooling recommend. And it's some curriculum that I personally have also used. So the first curriculum that we recommend is from the Well-Trained Mind. In the area of language arts and history, the Well-Trained Mind has some really solid books and curriculum that you can choose from. First language lessons for younger grades, grammar for the well-trained mind for older grades, writing with ease for the younger grades for the writing prompts and writing assignments, and then writing with skill for middle to high school. And then in history, I love Story of the World, and I happen to have the first volume here. Story of the World comes in 4 volumes, 1 through 4, and it starts with the ancient times, which is this book here. And it also has an activity book, tests, and audio read-alouds that are part of the program. Story of the World goes all the way through modern times in the 4 volumes, and each volume is recommended for 1 year. So you read through the book, you do the activities, you do the tests, and you can also listen to the book on audio, but each volume takes approximately 1 year. In classical education under the topic of science, I recommend Pandia Press, and each of the links are embedded here on each of the slides. So I'm just going to go to their website so you can take a look. This is Pandia Press's website, and I love their science. I happen to have it here too, I believe. Oh, here it is. This is their life science, and I've used this several years for my children, different children. Not all of them have used this, but it's just wonderful and so easy to follow. It has a lesson that you read. For instance, this is a lesson on worms. And so you read this with your child. It gives a really basic background. This is for 1st through 4th grade. And then it has assignments for the week based on that weekly reading. And for older kids, what I would do is I would take out vocabulary words that are in the reading, and I would have them look up the definition. So there's ways you can kind of tailor it for different age groups, but this is really nice if you have a couple of kids in the younger elementary ages. So let's go back to the slides. And then under one more recommendation under classical is classical conversations. I'm sure that most of you have heard about classical conversations, and it's actually like a co-op, but it covers all of the different subject areas, including Latin and any of the extracurricular activities as well. So that is classical. Charlotte Mason is our next homeschooling style that we're going to talk about. I love Queen Homeschool. Queen Homeschool is a website that was created by another homeschooling mom, and she created all of this wonderful curriculum that's all based on the Charlotte Mason method. I particularly love her language arts curriculum. Here it is, language lessons, and she has language lessons all the way through high school. So I highly recommend the language lessons. It's very easy to use. Each grade is given their own workbook, and they have a daily lesson that they work through, and she covers all of the grammar and all of the writing with copy work and reading and spelling. It's all in one. Then she also has a great science series called Discovering Nature, and I happen to have one of those here too. Again, it's really easy to use in the homeschool, and this could be used for several children at once. You go ahead and read a story each week, similar to the classical one that I showed you. And then there are 4 lessons. Here's the story. There are 4 lessons that, 1 lesson a day for the rest of the week. So on Monday, for instance, you would be reading aloud. And the really nice thing about these books is they're a story. So the whole book is actually a story of a family. For this particular one, Our Animal Friends, it's about a little girl who lives next door to her uncle, who's a veterinarian. And so she goes and visits him, and she can't wait to be a veterinarian one day. And he has all these animals. And so each week, your children are learning about the different animals along with the little girl in the story. It's really a sweet, endearing story. And so those are the two recommended books that I recommend from Queen Homeschool. And then she also has some great copy work and character building workbooks as well. And then Angela Odell is the other author and curriculum publisher that I recommend. I have some of her things here. Math Lessons for Living Education. This one is level 1. She has level 1 through 6 at this point. I believe she has kindergarten too. Similar to Queen Homeschool, the children, or you and the children, read a story. This one is really fun. It's about two children, a boy and a girl, siblings, that go visit their grandparents at their farm. And so the story that they read each week is all about the farm and what they're learning on the farm. And then it ties in to the weekly exercises. So they have a lesson each day, 5 days a week, and then you read the story for the next week. It's really fun, and kids get really engaged with that. And that's the math. And then she also has some really great history. Here's one of her history books. This is America, Land of Opportunity, and this is actually government for high school. And my daughter did this class and just loved it. So those are the ones that I recommend from Angela Odell. And her link is right here to her website too. So again, these slides are in your lesson plan, so you can go ahead and look them up on your own. The next one is traditional. And traditional, most people, even new homeschoolers, know what the traditional approach looks like. So I just made some recommendations on textbooks and workbooks there that I've personally used. Right now, we are actually using the Alpha Omega Life Packs. My kids, my two youngers, love the Life Packs because there's a little book for each month in each of the subject areas, and they just know exactly what's expected of them, and they can work through it at their own pace. They just particularly like that right now, so we're doing that. And then I listed some Odysseyware, Time for Learning, Easy Peasy Homeschool is actually a free homeschool curriculum that's all online. So go ahead and take a look at those. You can Google them. I didn't include the links, but I can add them later if you can't find them. Another lovely homeschooling style is unit studies. I love unit studies. I included a little picture there of someone doing a lap book about a bee, but unit studies are so sweet, and you can do them with multiple grades. My Father's World is a Christian unit study program. The Prairie Primer I've used through reading the Little House books. You go ahead and create a lap book, and you do all these assignments all related to the Little House books that you're reading. Unit Studies by Amanda Bennett. There's a ton of unit studies that she's developed for just about any topic. Unit studies can be based on literature, or they can also be based on a theme. It really just depends on what you want to do. I had a friend who did unit studies all year round, every year with her two boys. And what she would do at the beginning of the school year is she'd sit down and say, hey, what are you guys interested in learning about this year? And she would actually let them decide. And so one year they studied astronauts, they studied pirate ships. And so she would go to the library and find all the books based on that theme. They would do writing assignments and science assignments, all based on whatever theme that they had chosen. So it was really fun and interest-led, but then with some structure with the unit study. So Amanda Bennett has a ton of prepackaged unit studies she's already created that will help you if you want to go that route. And then there's also a really sweet unit study we've used in the past too, based on the American Girl books. And it starts with Kaya in the 1700s and takes you all the way through Molly in the 1940s. And so you're actually studying history, and you build a timeline, but you're doing all of these assignments based on books that you're reading from the American Girl books. And then I just listed some ways that you can show learning. I talked about lap books. You can also do the notebook method, which is basically you get the notebook and you divide it up by tabs for the subject areas. And then the students just write kind of like a scrapbook where you're putting in pictures or drawing pictures and writing about what you learn. So those are some ideas and recommendations for unit studies. And we also have Waldorf. Now, I've used the Waldorf curriculum called Oak Meadow, and I absolutely love Oak Meadow. It's so sweet. And I think I might have, yes, I have grade 4 teacher's manual. Oak Meadow is also really structured nicely for homeschool families. It covers all of the different subject areas, and there's some overlap. For instance, the student might have a writing assignment based on some history that they've read. But here's a quote I included regarding Oak Meadow, because it isn't 100% Waldorf, but it has a Waldorf influence. So you can go ahead and read that on your own. I'm not going to read it for you, but I do want to go ahead and click over to the Oak Meadow website because I want you to see they have a lot of information on here. And then it shows you all of the different curriculum options here, and there's wonderful samples, so you can go ahead and take a look. But it's really Waldorf influenced. I remember I used it for my oldest when she was in K2, and a lot of the math, instead of having math worksheets, it would give suggestions to go outside and collect acorns or sticks and learn how to add using nature. So it's a lot of nature, and I just really loved that because we lived in an area that we had wonderful nature opportunities and hiking opportunities, so really fit well with our family lifestyle. And then finally, I have this quiz I talked about earlier in a different video. You can take a quiz to find out what your homeschool style is. So if you're not sure which homeschool style you mostly match up with or what kind of works for your family, and it can change over the years. Like I was saying, some years we were more Waldorfy, and now we're very traditional with what we do. So it really depends on the learning style of your student, and then what your style of teaching is. So go ahead and take this quiz and post on the Facebook group what homeschool style you most identify with. That's it for now. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful day.